Hey folks, welcome to another product review at Finominal. Today we're going to talk about Blackstone's senior loan ETF, which has a ticker SRLN. Now, the ETF has a track record of around 10 years. It manages around $5 billion and provides exposure to senior loans. Now, what does that mean? It means that Blackstone creates a diversified portfolio of primarily floating rate bank loans. The average maturity at the moment is around 5 years, and it has, I think, around 480 single securities. And given that it's floating rate debt, it should benefit from rising interest rates. So let's have a look at what makes this product popular. So the first thing we're going to do is see if there is a benchmark on our performance benchmarking tool. Now we do see that there is a suggested benchmark of the Bloomberg 1 to 3 month US Treasury bill index, but we also see that the R squared to SRL is very low, so that does not seem like a sensible benchmark. Now let's simply take another bond index, and we can take here the Bloomberg Barclays Equity Bond Index, which is not the right benchmark either, and we don't have the right benchmark for SLN. That's fine, you can't have the right benchmark for everything. But it does show us that SRLN, so we see the performance over here from 2014 to 2024, behaves quite differently than these bond indices. We can see especially 2020 during COVID, right? SRL declined significantly. So that seems to indicate that SRLN does provide something different than fixed income exposure. And we can simply check that on our Know Your Factors tool by doing a quick factor exposure analysis. And what we see over here is if you look at the asset class exposures, i.e. the factor betas, that SRLN had a positive exposure to equities over time, which is surprising. Now, I'm not a fixed income specialist, but I would have thought that if you have a product that contains the name senior loans, that this is a fixed income product. But it seems to be that there's quite a bit of equity exposure in here. And we can kind of explore that further by using our time machine tool to see if that exposure to equities is something that we should be concerned about. And so what we do over here is effectively we back solve for the same total return of SRL simply using the S&P 500 and cash. And what you can see here is that this replication portfolio containing only like a 23% allocation to S&P 500 and 70% to non-interest bearing cash would have provided almost the same exposure. Actually, it looks slightly better, smoother, at a low drawdown. And so it seems to me that the replication portfolio has a higher Sharpe ratio than SRLN, despite basically providing the same total return. Now, that's not really not that attractive because effectively it means that SRLN provides nothing but diluted equity exposure. Simply a little bit of equities and a whole lot of cash. Now, we can verify that or explore that further by using a diversification booster and quantifying the diversification benefits of the senior loan ETF. Now, what we do see, the correlation to stocks was quite high with 0.6 for 11 years, whereas the correlation to bonds was 0.09. So indeed, it seems that this product is primarily an equity proxy. And if I would have added a 25% allocation to SRLN over the last 11 years, it would have hardly moved my Sharpe ratio of an equities portfolio. So it seems like this product is diversifying for bond investors. Its correlation to bonds is low, but not equity investors. In case you're still interested in kind of this type of strategy, but want to see if there are cheaper products or alternatives, we can use our fee reducer tool for that. And indeed, we see that SRLN is charging 71 basis point. And we're highlighting here another product from Franklin Templeton, senior loan ETF with FLBL as ticker, charge only 45 basis points, but would have provided very similar exposure. And the way this looks, actually, that the product from Franklin actually looks a little bit smoother. So we can see from a Sharpe perspective, I would expect that to be slightly higher, which it is, 0.65 versus 0.48. So if you look at this SRLN, right, in a nutshell, it's an equity proxy that can be easily replicated. I do understand why people are buying it, which is the high yield, right? So it does provide a yield of almost close to 10%. There are cheap alternatives in case you're interested, right? And you can see there's a few more of them up here. But it is a product that does not diversify. And you can create dividends synthetically. If you don't like the 2% of the S&P 500, you can simply sell off the S&P 500 bits by bits to create a synthetic dividend to whatever yield level you are desired to be, but don't need to necessarily buy something that's high yielding. The problem with this product, as well as many similar high yielding products, is that you sacrifice return off capital for return on capital. So that's it in a nutshell. Hope this was helpful. Have a nice day.